So we're back at Nekomaneki Village now, and we have all of our items, as expected. First thing I want to do is show you the storehouse. This is where you can deposit up to 80 items, and if you collapse in a dungeon, the items still remain inside the storehouse, so basically it's a way to keep items safe. And instead of doing like store and withdraw, you can do organize to insert and remove items from pots without having to go back and forth between store and withdraw. So just a bit of a time saver. We'll go ahead and do that. I think I forgot one. Okay, good enough. And the lady to her right is the bank. This is where you can deposit Gitan, and if you collapse in a dungeon, the Gitan won't be lost, so just a way to save money. And you get items based on your account balance. So at first you get revival grass just for using it, and then at 5,000 you get undo grass, and so on. And this is the item shop. You can buy and sell items. So let's go ahead and buy some stuff. Oh, and the inventory is completely random, or not exactly completely random, but it's selected from a specific list that restocks each time you come back to the village. Yeah. Anyway, those are the three main ones to take advantage of when you're in the hotel. And this is the warehouse. It's additional storage, and inside the warehouse it's dungeon mode gameplay. So basically everything works as if you're in a dungeon. You can throw pots against the wall to break the pot and get the items that are inside the pot. And if you want to store an item, you just leave it on the ground and exit, and it auto-saves. License shop is a little complicated, so I'm going to skip it for now. And Curse Breaker, you talk to this guy and pay 500 Gitan, and he purifies all inventory items that aren't inside pots, so curses and seals are lifted. And there's a small chance that he blesses one of the purified items, but it's just a random chance, and you don't get to choose the item. Next, this isn't a facility, but it's an ally's house, Gen's house. If you enter it, there's a small event that plays. It's kind of a crabby cat at first, but he warms up later on. And I forgot to mention it in part 1, but if you talk to Kojirota again after he runs off, or after Jirokichi runs off, he'll chase after Jirokichi, which sets the second flag for him to join you as an ally. And this house is where you continue Gen's storyline. If you talk to this woman, she mentions that she can brew, or like she can make catnip juice, So after a number of adventures, you come back here and she'll give you catnip juice, and you deliver that to Gen, and he'll warm up to you and join you as an ally at that point. Oh, and if you happen to collapse in a dungeon while you have a weapon or shield equipped, sometimes, like if you lose the item, you can find it in this field here. I'm not exactly sure what the percentage chance is, but if you liked a weapon or shield that you had, just come back here and check to see if you can reclaim it. The last thing is the dungeon center. This is where you can play minigames and challenge additional dungeons. There are a lot of different dungeons, but there are 3 NPCs. The lower left is Statue Cave. This is where it's kind of like a puzzle dungeon. You hit statues and move them around. So the goal is to push them onto like goal tiles. And once you do that, you clear the puzzle and you get a random item as a reward. And there are a ton of topics, so I'm not going to do that right now. And this is the dungeon center woman. She gives you a list of dungeons you can challenge, and one of them is unlocked after you clear the main story, but the rest you can play right from the get-go. And if you're struggling with the main story or just want a change of pace, you can come here and try some of these out. And this woman, or old woman, is the lady for Explosion Rocks. It's kind of like a Minesweeper minigame, but mystery dungeon style. So we'll go ahead and play that. That's why I deposited all my items in Gitan, because if you enter this dungeon without doing that, you'll lose whatever you have on hand. So let's go ahead and play Novice. And Novice is pretty easy. You probably, like, if you know the basics of Minesweeper at all, you won't struggle at all. But basically the way it works, when you're standing on a tile, underneath you, it has a number, and that means that within a 1 tile radius, there's that number of bombs hidden in the wall. And so right now I'm standing on 1. If I look around the 1 tile radius, there's only 1 wall tile, so it has to be this one. And when you're in scout mode, you can press the X button to mark the wall where you think a bomb is. So it helps keep track of what you're looking at. There are 5 floors total, and the first floor are the hardest. The 5th is kind of like a bonus floor where you get some reward items and there are fewer bombs. So it's usually kind of hard to mess up the last floor. I think this should be safe. Nope, that was not safe. Okay. This is a little embarrassing, because it's novice difficulty. I'm just gonna throw one of these 428 pots. It's basically a portable explosion. You can... nothing happens to the item that you insert into it, but you can throw it at a wall or creature, and it causes an explosion. Like that. And you might have noticed that the onigiri I was carrying became grilled when I got hit by explosion damage. That happens when you get hit by fire or explosion damage. And it's actually pretty beneficial because, or at times, because grilled onigiri heals 40 HP on top of restore or replenishing fullness. And normally onigiri doesn't restore any HP when you eat it. So in this Explosion Rocks dungeon, your HP doesn't regenerate, so you have to eat onigiri if you want to be able to withstand another explosion. But I'm gonna see if I can get by without eating. Oh, there we go. I'll eat one just to be safe, I guess. Okay, there we go. That was the 4th floor, so now we're into the bonus floor. And Novice, you can get a bunch of Fate and Earth Scrolls, which is pretty nice. You get to upgrade your weapons and shields. So yeah, not too difficult. Easy items. And you can go to the item shop and sell whatever you don't want to make some Gitan. And the main reason I went to that is because I wanted some paralysis staves. Paralysis staff is a really powerful staff that lets you completely immobilize and disable a target enemy. And they can't do anything until they either get hit by an attack or effect. Okay, now I'm gonna get ready for the next tower. Don't forget the point card. And main equipment. Probably don't need a pickaxe. Not too concerned about finding treasure rooms. Oh. Selected too many items. And I would normally use Day Shield. It's an extremely powerful shield that reduces damage from daytime monsters by a percentage. But it's not exactly the most common shield, so since this is aiming to help anyone get through the story, I'm going to try to avoid using like the best items that are available. Hopefully not to my own detriment, or like demise. I'll go ahead to the warehouse and use the scrolls. Fate and Earth scrolls. Oh, and yeah, every now and then you get a lucky +3 instead of +1 when you use a Fate or Earth Scroll. So that's just kind of a nice bonus when it happens, but it's also random. And I'll go ahead and use the Plating Scroll on the shield. And yeah, I think that's about it. So, off to Destiny Trail. Second visit to Destiny Trail. Not sure if there's much to say. Oh, this is an NPC named Meki. What he does is offers to plate a weapon or shield for 2000 Gitan. So it's the same as reading a plating scroll, but you just use him to do it instead of an item. But you can also, if you press right or left, you can, there's a hidden option to plate the player. And what this does is it makes you invulnerable to damage and effects until it wears off. So like if you get hit by an attack or step on a trap, nothing happens, like nothing bad happens to you, but there's a chance that it'll wear off. We'll go ahead and plate the Nekomaneki. And so, another thing you can do with bags of money on the ground, if you hold the B button, that's the dash button, and then move on top of it, you can step on it without picking it up. And then if you select an inventory item and then swap, you can swap it so it's treated as an item instead of like picking it up and adding it to your wallet. And the significance of that is that if you throw a bag of Gitan, it deals damage equal to the value of the Gitan divided by 10. So in this case, if I were to throw this at a monster, it would deal 26 damage. But if you sort your items, it adds it to the wallet, so you either want to insert it into a pot or be careful not to sort your items. So I'll go ahead and insert it. Oops. That's fine. Okay, so this is a shiny object. If you see on the tile or I'm facing, there's yellow sparkles, and you can dig these up when you have 8 strength. So like from the start of the game you can dig them up, but sometimes there are blue colored shiny sparkles, shiny objects, and you need to have at least 9 or more strength to dig up those. But the cool thing about these shiny objects is that the yellow ones have a chance to have an item from a shop table, which is like higher quality than the floor table, because item drops that get generated are divided into different categories. So there's floor shop, elite shop, which is like a better shop, but it's pretty rare, and then some other ones. But there's also a chance that a shiny object will generate a monster instead of an item, so I'm not sure exactly what the percentage, but I'm guessing it's a 50-50. Okay, so we found an item. Perception grass. I don't need this many swap stabs. And I think we already have an antidote grass, so we'll go ahead and eat this to replenish some fullness. Oh, one thing you can do with plating scrolls too is you can select a cursed or sealed piece of equipment and it lifts the curse or seal. So if I were to read it on the good katana here, the curse would go away. But probably don't need that many plating scrolls. Let's try equipping this bracelet. Looks like our strength stayed the same, so it's not a strength bracelet. Our experience until next level is the same, so it's not a growth bracelet. I'll try throwing this shield here. Oh, it vanished, so it's a cannon arm bracelet again. So I'll keep that unequipped for now to avoid accidents. A lot of perception grass. Decent number of good items too, so I don't want to discard too many things. We have a lot of onigiri though, so I'll eat some of the lower quality ones. I want to save some herbs and like other healing items in case Jirokichi collapses. Looks like we can collect some arrows again. Or one arrow. I probably don't need this Yiton as an item right now. And I'll keep the peach outside of the pot so it ripens as I advance floors, because I'd like to get a juicy peach. Oh, I guess I can check the student shield because there's a strip trap. Okay. And you have to be a little careful with electric staff, because it deals electric damage to a target and anything that's adjacent to that target. So for example, if I swing it here, it deals a fixed 25 damage, so this is going to be a little painful. Yeah. So it hit all 4 characters, including myself, because we were all connected. But it's a pretty decent long-range option early game. And fixed damage is nice because sometimes monsters have special abilities that reduce direct attack damage to 1 point, but fixed damage can cut through that. Probably don't need a mage staff. So now our remaining options are the North Tower, Tower of the Present, and the East Tower, Tower of the Future. If you remember, this is the hard difficulty, and this is medium, so we'll go to Tower of the Present next. And I like to call this tower the monsters mess with your items tower, and the strength lowering tower, because there are a lot of monsters that either lower your strength or curse your items or weaken them in other ways. Like swordsmen can knock them away, and there's a monster called Mudkin that lowers upgrade value that we'll see in a little bit. Let's see. I'll just leave that for now and pick it up later. Monsters are kind of tanky in this area. Like, they have higher defense and HP than Tower of the Past early floors. So I guess I'll take a chance and just hope that Jirokichi doesn't collapse and eat the herb. So now we have super status. Ideally, we can maintain it for a while, but with poison grass being thrown around, it's kind of easy to lose it because you get slowed when you get hit by poison grass, which can cause you to lose super status. And I don't want to fight cursed girls if I can help it, because it's not good to have your items be cursed at the moment, because I'm looking for a specific monster called Mixers, and they have a really pretty low chance of being generated in Tower of the Present, but I'm hoping that we can come across at least maybe 3 or so. Oh, there we go. So this is a monster called Mixer. What it does is it lets you what's called synthesize items. And synthesis is basically, it lets you combine weapons with weapons or shields with shields, and it merges their upgrade value and special abilities. So if I were to throw my Doltaneki and then this katana, I would get the +3 from the katana would be added to the Doltaneki and it'd be +4. And another thing that mixers let you do that synthesis pods don't is that you can combine different category items. So instead of weapon plus weapon or shield plus shield, you can do weapon plus grass. And the mixer recipes are kind of like hidden recipes. You either look them up on the wiki or just do trial and error until you find some. But this is why I've been keeping some of these grasses, because they're used in the hidden mixer recipes. So we'll go ahead and throw, let's see, let's start with antidote grass, because scorpions are drain element. I'll explain in just a second. So we threw antidote grass, and then if we throw a weapon, it swallows the item, and now the result is just one item instead of getting both back, which means the synthesis worked. And if we check the details, we see that in addition to the rust-proof rune that was added from reading the plating scroll, it gained an anti-drain rune now, and that's from the antidote grass. So now, when you have this weapon equipped, you deal extra damage to drain-type monsters. And scorpions, for example, are a drain-type monster. So it's it gives us a pretty big advantage at this point in the game, because the damage increase is 1.35 times the regular amount. So let's see if we can find another one. Oh, there we go. Let's see. So right now, if you look to the right of the upgrade max 22, we see a rune count 2 out of 6. And that means that we have 2 runes on this weapon right now, and we have a total of 6 slots. So we can add up to 4 more runes. So let's go ahead and synthesize another ability. And this time, I'll choose, what am I going to choose? Oh, okay. Warp grass is another ingredient. This one lets you synthesize anti-floating, so it lets you do additional damage toward floating type monsters like Pump Phantasm. So if you check the details, there we go, anti-floating. So you'll notice that we deal a lot more damage now, even taking super status into account. I'll go ahead and eat something to try to not lose super status. That is to avoid the hunger messages that can cause you to lose it. I probably shouldn't be walking around right now like this because I can get, or my items can get cursed if I run into a cursed girl in the hallway. But I'm taking a chance in case one of the rooms has a sleeping mixer. The worst case scenario is on a floor where mixers spawn. If you get your main weapon or main shield cursed and you can't unequip it, that means you can't synthesize until you figure out a way to unequip that item. Yeah, not a whole lot to say here. We're just waiting for mixers. And they spawn between the first floor and second floor and third floor in Tower of the Present, so even if you don't find them right away, like on one floor, you still have a few more chances. So, okay, finally got another one. And this time, life grass is another ingredient. It provides a rune called Energizing, which increases your max HP by 20. So I'm gonna go ahead and synthesize that into my shield. And since I don't have a shield right now, I'm gonna step away and let Jirokichi fight. And if we check this, now we have Energizing. And our max HP went from 66 to 86. So you can kind of see how powerful you can get in a short time if you start synthesizing lots of different things. Forgot what this was. Transient stuff. Yeah, not a whole lot going on. Oh, okay, so when you linger on a floor for a very long time, wind starts to blow. It's called Wind of Kron. And when that happens, It's basically a warning message. Like if you stick around much longer, you're gonna get blown outside of the dungeon and sent back to the village. And you get 3 warning messages, and then on the 4th gust, you get sent out of the dungeon, and it's treated as if you collapsed, so you lose all money and items. And undo grass or revival grass can't save you, so you should really just head for the stairs when that happens. Looks like one of our peaches turned into a juicy peach now, so I'll preserve that. Oh. Okay. Want to create a little bit of distance, so I'm going to use a knockback staff. And when you throw an item or shoot an arrow, it travels up to 10 tiles away. So if we throw one here, we'll be able to hit the mixer with it. And when you throw an item at mixer, it never misses when it can still swallow items, and they can swallow up to 2 items at level 1. And if you try to throw another one at it, it hits them and does whatever damage or effect. So just be careful of how many items you throw, or like keep track of how many items it's eaten. Let's see, so we have 3 more slots on our weapon and 4 more on our shield. I think we have a dragon grass. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and synthesize the dragon grass into our shield. And what that's going to do is give us the anti-fire rune. This is not the smartest idea to be adjacent when I don't have a shield, but I'm counting on Jirokichi to hit him after me. Okay, there we go. So anti-fire reduces fire damage, and what it actually does is it reduces it by 50%, so it halves it. That means that, for example, if the grass kid in Tower of the Past threw that dragon grass at us, normally it would do, I think, somewhere around 40 to 50 damage. But if we have this shield equipped with anti-fire, it would do 20 to 25 damage instead. And early on it's not too important to have fire damage reduction, but later on you encounter stuff like dragons that blow or breathe fire, and it starts to become pretty important. Not too concerned about losing strength right now. Oh. So this guy is an appraiser. He identifies a category of items for you. And in this case, he identified shields, which we didn't have any identified shields, so that was not too helpful. But we can also talk to him again and pay 500 for him to identify 1 item. So let's go ahead and do that on this bracelet. And there we go. And since the bracelet is was identified, that means that it got added to the item book. So yeah, it makes identifying items adds it to the item book, and that makes it easier to look up price points and stuff like that when you're in shops. So it's a good idea to identify when you can. And items are automatically identified when you return to Nekomaneki Village too. Oh, and yeah, so when equipment levels up, it's sometimes, like, depending on the item and level, it can gain added runes. So in this case, in addition to the stat increases, it gained uplifting. And if we check the runes, it added 1 to the rune count, and uplifting is your max HP increases by 10. So yeah, it's just an automatic rune that gets added when Beast Shield reaches level 4. Not finding too many mixers here. So I'll go ahead and show this now. This is a rust trap right here. And what that does is it lowers the upgrade value of whatever you have equipped by 1. And in this case, Rusty Pickaxe has 3 base attack power. So when I step on it, it's going to be lowered to 2. So it's -1 right now. And if I step on it again, it goes to 1 as expected. And then down to 0. And at this point, the upgrade value can't decrease any further. So if I step on it again, nothing happens. So it's not like it goes into the negative, but just an example how that works. This NPC is kind of in our way, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn him hostile, and we can defeat him. It's a little mean, but he'll respawn. Like, it'll be fine. So now we're starving, and this time, instead of eating an item to replenish fullness. We currently have 2 revival grass and 1 undo grass, and when you get revived by one of these items, it fully restores your strength, fullness, and HP. So I'm going to go ahead and starve until I collapse. And what that's going to do is it also turns the revival item into weeds. And weeds is actually one of the hidden recipes or ingredients to create a rune called anti-plant. And there we go. So now our fullness, strength, and HP are fully recovered, and the undo grass turned into weeds, which we can use to synthesize the anti-plant rune if we find another mixer. Not having too great of luck with that, but there we go. A little concerned about Jirokichi there, because his attack power has been lowered. And when allies have their stats lowered, it doesn't wear off until you advance to the next floor. The reason why I'm stepping in front so that Jirokichi doesn't get a chance to hit them is because I want the skill points for defeating them using a direct attack. So that I can level equipment. Oh, and if you hold the R button, you can guarantee diagonal movement. So if you, it's a good habit to get into if you like really want to make sure you don't miss input. Looks like we won't encounter another mixer now, so hopefully we get at least one next floor. Oh, okay. This is another ally event character. There's a trapped fox, and if you release it, you can progress the... I forgot her name, but it's one of the ally characters, but it progresses the event so that she'll come and join you back at the village after a few adventures. And if you don't release it, the event just happens again later. So it's not like you permanently miss out on having her join you. Oh, and yeah, enraged status, if you step on a rage trap, it also wakes up the enemies in the room. Probably don't need 2 electric stabs. Lots of food, which is great, because we're waiting for mixers, but our inventory is also pretty full. I'll go ahead and swap my arrows, because 4 arrows is probably not going to do a whole lot for us. Looks like that's it for rooms. No mixers yet. Still no mixers. And mixers spawn in the next dungeon, Tower of the Future too, so it's not like I have to do it here, but since we're on the floor range where it can appear, it would just be nice to get some of the synthesis done. That way we have a better chance of making it further into the story, because enemies start to get a little strong from Tower of the Future. Let's go ahead and eat something. Oh, there we go, finally. Okay, so this is not the best spot to be in because it's adjacent, but we have a really strong shield, so I'm gonna go ahead and synthesize right next to him. So we're gonna throw the weeds, and then our weapon. And now this weapon will have the anti-plant rune, which deals extra damage to plant-type monsters. And that includes monsters like Mutaikon, so, and Pump Phantasm. So our equipment's looking pretty great right now, I'd say. Nothing to complain about. Okay, so from the 4th floor, there are enemies called Polygon Spinas, and these guys are a little tricky. What they do is they teleport right in front of you, in the direction you're facing. So if I take a step here to the lower right, they're going to surround me, or like up here in front of me. And they're annoying like on their own doing that type of movement, but they also lower max fullness and max HP with their special attack. So in this dungeon it's not too important because it's pretty easy still. But in harder dungeons, like those little losses to max HP and max fullness can add up. So I'm just going to use direct attacks because I'm not too concerned about having stats decrease right now. And another way to get weeds is to have a swordsman use its special attack on an ally character. And since allies don't have shields, what happens instead is the ally character loses or like drops weeds. So it can be a nice way to synthesize the anti-plant rune, even if you don't have a revival grass or undo grass on hand. And right now I'm keeping an eye out for items like Swift Grass, Oil Scroll, and Power Up Grass. That's for upcoming boss fights. Those are really good bossing items. Oh, and one cool thing about Shiren 5, that's Tower of Fortune, is that allies and NPCs always dodge flying equipment. So when you have an ally, when your back is against an ally, when you're fighting a swordsman, you're not actually at risk of losing your shield, because the ally always dodges. So just one thing to keep in mind, like if you feel like you're in a bad spot, it might not actually be as bad as you feel. Oh, I don't know why I'm still lingering. Mixers don't appear here. Okay, so this is Mudkin. It decreases the upgrade value of both, or either your weapon or shield when it does a special attack. And it's like Froggo, where it doesn't actually attack you with damage dealing direct attacks. It just gets slimy and uses its special attack. And what can happen at times is if you deal damage to it, it can duplicate. It didn't do it that time, but I'll see if I can make it happen. Nope. There are a lot of air tiles on this floor, so I'm a little bit uneasy if there are still swordsmen. I don't remember if there are on the 5th floor. Oh, and one thing about metalheads is that they can attack from one tile away, not just through corners. So you'll want to use zigzag movement against them too. Oh, well, I was going to introduce that monster, but instinctively I defeated it. Let's see if we can find another one. Maybe on the next floor. So that's a acrid nut. It's just a level 2 version of a sweet nut. And monsters can go up to level 4, at least most of them. And when they level up, their stats increase, and they also sometimes gain additional effects with their special abilities. So we saw Jirokichi lost his weeds. Oh. Don't need this rusty pickaxe anymore. There he is. Let's go ahead and upgrade our shield some more. So yeah, we have a pretty strong shield, 28 defense. Oh, okay, so here's a Cheerham. Let's see if another monster comes into the room. Okay. So, okay, that's a kid squid. It can blow ink and make you blind for a number of turns. And I just woke up the Cheerham, so when this wears off... Any second now. Oh, there we go. You can see that the Cheerham is cheering the kid squid on. And when that happens, what's actually happening is that any creature within a 1-tile radius of the Cheerham gains attack boost by 1 stage. So if I were to go next to it, now the Cheerham is right there cheering me on, and I'll deal more damage to Kid Squid. So 50. It's a little bit higher than it probably would have been otherwise. And Cheerhams generally run away from you, but if you corner them, they sometimes attack instead of run. And another characteristic of their cheer is that it grants enduring status to any creature that is cheering on, which means when that creature would normally receive damage to receive enough damage to where they would collapse, it lets them cling to life with 1 HP remaining. So if I hit this Kid Squid, you'll see that Cheerham's cheering allowed Kid Squid to cling to life, so it survived the hit. I guess we don't need 2 balance stabs. Oh, poison arrow. I'm being a little bit careless because we have super status and both our attack and defense have been buffed. So the only thing that's really scary right now is enemy special attacks, like Swordsman, but I don't think Swordsman spawns here anymore on the 7th floor. And I guess Kid Squid can make super status go away too with its ink. Oh, okay, so board kappas, what do? They move toward items and then throw them at you. And level 1 board kappas always miss their throws. So, and that includes like throwing pots. The pots will never break, they just land on the ground. But higher level ones can throw farther, and the items they throw actually hit you, so it becomes a little more threatening. Since our items are plated, we don't have a need for gold edge anymore. I think that's all the monsters to show off in this area now. So I'll go ahead and clear the dungeon. And then we just go back to Nekomaneki Village again and continue next time.